Hi guys, I'm Callum, also known as Northern Dice, and I am going to be reviewing my reviewer copy of A Gentle Rain. It is a single player, possibly two player at a push game that takes about 15 minutes to play, in which you place tiles to try and build a pond, match patterns, and place tokens. Here are the contents of the box for A Gentle Rain. There are a stack of tiles which you use to make your pond, a rule set, and some tokens to dictate the flowers that you have acquired. The aim of the game is to have 4 matching tile flowers surrounding an empty space, at which point you're able to place one of the tokens that you have got spare. It must match one of the 4 flowers surrounding that empty space. There are situations that you can produce for yourself where you've not got a flower available to you, but you can still complete the circle. Points are gained based on both flowers completed and tiles remaining at the end of the game. If you end the game without placing all of the tokens, your score is based on the flowers placed, whereas if you manage to finish the game with all flowers placed, your score is 8, one for each token, plus every tile that you have remaining. The game begins with the player shuffling the deck and then placing a single tile onto the board ready to start the game, at which point they can then draw a tile ready to place adjoining to that tile. There may be situations where tiles cannot be placed in a matching set or cannot even be placed to any tile. If a tile cannot be placed whatsoever, it must be discarded and a new tile is drawn. The game ends once the player has either placed all 8 flower tokens or has used all of the deck. The rules suggest that to best prepare for this game, it's a good idea to get comfortable in some loose clothing with some music soft in the background and have a cup of tea with it. After which, you can then begin placing tiles to other tiles to try and create these blossoms. Here is an example of one of the games I played. A Gentle Rain is a single-player tile laying game that is entirely designed for that single-player experience. You lay the tiles gradually, you place little tokens in the spaces, and you then compete against yourself, if anything, just to see if, number one, you can even lay all the tiles and get all the tokens out, and number two, beat your own score. Nothing about it comes across as competitive, though. Every single element is visually designed, aesthetically designed, thematically designed to try and keep that calming feel as its focal point. It is incredibly mindful, and it's executed really, really well in that sense, because at no point did I feel while playing that, because I could see outright that I was not going to finish, that I wanted to stop. I still wanted to complete the pond. I still wanted to lay all the tiles and just see how I got on. As much as you'll always be competing against yourself, there is also that cooperative element where you can have it so you have two players and you draw a tile each, but I didn't find that as mindful. I didn't feel like it really shone for what it was. It was enjoyable, and we found that by not communicating and choosing where to put them based on each other's previous actions, it made it a little bit more interesting. But I found that this game, unusually for me, was a game that I only wanted to play solo, which I think was to its credit, because, as I've said, the mindful experience being the focal point really shone, and it did a good job of what it wanted to do. The actual components within are really well made. I really like the tiles. They are got a bit of a groove on the back, which I think was a little nice touch. Completely pointless, but it just adds a little bit of aesthetic. All of them are illustrated beautifully with little lily pads and the flowers. There's no sharp edges, I want to say. Nothing that comes across as quite out of place or a little bit like Easter eggy sinister or anything along those lines. It's very much, it is just a pond with lots and lots of lovely flowers in that you construct. And I don't know, I think for the theme, it's gorgeous. Aesthetically, it looks beautiful, but it is what it is. If you are looking for something that looks stunning on the table, this is it, absolutely. But that's all it is. That single mindful experience that looks good. It doesn't really give you a lot more than that. I don't really think that this game is one that you'd want to play as a filler either, because of the solo element of it. It is a game that you'll want to play on your own, and you'll want to play for those 15 minutes between things, but it won't be between games. I found myself playing it for 15 minutes when I'd just made a cup of tea and I wanted to sit down and do nothing, and it was really lovely. And I've even spoken to people who've suggested playing it after a very long day, and I can completely see the viability in that. I can't see it coming out at a games night though. It's a game that has a very specific purpose, and that purpose is for that mindfulness, that feel of taking a moment to yourself, that taking yourself away from the world and just sitting and playing a quick game. And that's what it is. It's incredibly low stakes in terms of time, in terms of table space, and, well, even brain power. You'll feel incredibly relaxed after, but as I keep saying, you aren't going to get it out at any other time other than when you absolutely need to. So is it a game that I'd recommend? And I would and I wouldn't. If you are looking for something that's a little bit different, a solo experience, and something that you won't necessarily share with people, yeah, perfect, spot on, grab it. It's lovely, it's beautiful, it produces what it needs to produce, a moment to yourself to play a quick game and just treat yourself to a quick 15-minute session of laying some tiles and putting some tokens in places. It's excellent. But if you are looking for something for a more wider audience, and by wider audience I literally mean more than just one person, then probably not. I only recently got into solo games in the last couple of months, and had I not done that, I may not have, had any interest in this, even as a review copy. But because I've been able to appreciate solo games in different capacities, I can see that this is absolutely viable in what it tries to do. Playing a solo game of something else can be quite tense, but it's fun nonetheless, and it's exciting, and you are doing something for you. But it's still a little bit stressful. It can still have that element of tension, that element of worry, that element of I might lose. And in those games I found myself, if it's towards the end and I know I'm going to lose, I might call it and just say enough's enough. I know I'm going to lose, it was fun, pack it away. This doesn't do that. You will play the game through and through, even if from the second, third tile you know that you have royally messed up, you'll still want to place them all. because it produces something beautiful, but it's part of the actual experience. It isn't one, as I keep saying, that has any sort of level of competition. You are just placing tiles to compete with yourself, and even then, competing with yourself is a very, very loose way of saying, did I beat my previous score, yes or no? I mean, they say in the rules that the absolute silver platter score, the golden top tier thing that you want to achieve, is a score of 21. I can't viably see how I'd do it, and I don't think I'd really ever want to. That's having 13 tiles spare on top of placing the 8 tokens. That's almost like a perfect game. I like building. I like having to think about where pieces go. I don't think I'd enjoy it if I pulled a tile and it immediately fits in. I like knowing that I have to forward plan. But again, because it's so low stakes, it's incredibly low stress, and there's no real worry, caution, or need to overthink it. You're taking a bit of time, you've got a bit of music on, you've got those loose clothes on, you're playing a game to relax, and it fits the bill for what it is. For that reason, I'd 100% recommend it for anybody who needs that. Of course, if you are looking for that next big 4 to 6 player game of war, this is not it. This is definitely not it. This is the solo experience that you need for a moment to yourself.